Hi everyone, it's Dr. A, and in this video, we're going to take a few moments to discuss the process of walking, or what we can commonly refer to as the gait cycle. One of the first things we should do prior to assessing someone's gait is to first observe their standing posture. Now, let's first define the term posture. Posture is an alignment of body segments, or the position of the body segments in relation to a specific activity or task. Now, the way that we begin this process is by observing an individual standing in anatomical position. And it's in this position that we place what is clinically referred to as a plumb line down the center of the body, dividing it into right and left halves. It's here, with the use of a plumb line, that we were able to look at various segments of the body and determine whether or not they are symmetrical or asymmetrical. Now, while performing this initial evaluation, you may elect to do so in a cephalocaudal order, meaning head to toe, or you may elect to do the reverse and examine the individual from a toe to head position. Either way, you'll want to pick an approach and use it consistently. Now, after having evaluated the individual anteriorly, we should do the same posteriorly. And following this, we should view the individual from a lateral perspective, again ensuring that we note the symmetry or asymmetries of the body segments that are present. Once we've completed a thorough examination of the individual's standing posture, we can proceed by assessing their gait. And gait simply refers to the manner or style of walking. But before we analyze an individual's gait, it's helpful for us to know about the gait cycle. Now, we can divide an individual's gait into two components, and the first is what we call the stance phase. And this phase can be further broken down into 5 components: heel strike, loading response, mid stance, terminal stance, and toe off. So, looking at the beginning of the stance phase, we have heel strike. And it's just what it sounds like. It involves the heel making direct contact with the ground. In the loading response, the entire plantar surface of the foot is in direct contact with the floor. And as the body propels forward, it moves into mid-stance, where most of the body's weight is directly positioned or centered over the foot. Continuing this forward progression is terminal stance, where the heel of the foot begins to lift off of the ground. And the final step of the stance phase is toe off, which represents the moment in which the toe is beginning to leave the ground. Now, one of the things we should note here is that the stance phase of the gait pattern makes up about 60% of the gait cycle. Now, moving over to the next component of the gait cycle is what we refer to as the swing phase. And in this phase, we have 3 subcomponents, which are initial swing, mid-swing, and terminal swing. Now, in the initial swing phase, this represents the point in walking by where the foot is no longer in contact with the ground. Next, we have the mid-swing phase, which is best represented by the positioning of the lower leg to the ground. Specifically, in the mid-swing, we'll see that the tibia is perpendicular to the ground. And lastly, we have the terminal swing, which represents the moment in which the heel is preparing to make contact with the ground. Now, keep in mind that what we've reviewed is the normal gait cycle, and that when you begin to evaluate someone's gait, some of these components may not follow the exact pattern we've outlined here, specifically if they have an underlying injury or pathology. And last but not least, the swing phase makes up roughly 40% of the gait cycle. Well, thank you for watching this video. I hope it's been helpful, and if you have any questions or comments, please let me know in the comments section below, and I'll plan on catching up with you in the next video.